everyone. I'm Julia Elliott. I'm the editor of Metro Parent, if you didn't already hear me say that earlier when we had our first Ed Talk. And as the editor of a parenting magazine, a lot of times people will ask me, what would you get a kid for a holiday gift or a birthday gift or something along those lines? And I certainly have a roster of like cool things that I think that, I recommend to people. But one of the things I always include, I sincerely always include, is I say, make a donation to their college savings account. I think people do not do that enough. I think parents don't solicit that enough from their family. Kids get a lot of stuff, and I think it's more like quality over quantity. So get them something fun, but then also make a contribution to their college savings account. And when I say that, I'm always so surprised how many people don't do that or don't have one yet. So if you aren't aware of college savings accounts and all the great benefits and how they can really help you afford your child's professional dreams, because really that's what it is, you're going to get an education, a little bit of an education today. Even if you do have one, how maybe you can make the most of it. So I'm very happy to welcome up here Sal Vassallo and Megan Buonadano. Did I say that right, Megan? Buonadono. Yep.
Thank you very much. And on the getting children college savings for their birthday or holidays, I have a friend of the family, she just turned 1. And so I donated to her Michigan Education Trust contract for her birthday. And that kind of sparked a conversation at her birthday party. And there were several other people who thought it was a great idea and also wanted to contribute. So once it's out there, spread the word, and a lot of people will follow.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we both Michigan's 529 plans, we think that it's very important. How many people here want their children to go to college? Should be everybody, right? Mm-hmm. Well, it gives you a nice way to set aside money for higher education costs, such as tuition, room and board, books, supplies, really anything that the college requires for attendance. So it's a nice way to earmark college money instead of saving it in a traditional savings account. But the benefit with MET and MESP is it is tax advantaged. So between both programs, you can actually deduct up to a certain amount based on your contributions to each plan. So you can deduct that from your state of Michigan income. So the max deduction for MET is whatever you contribute in one current year. For MESP, it is $10,000 for joint tax filers and then $5,000 for single tax filers. But we'll kind of get into a little bit more details here. We only got about 10 minutes, so we'll let Megan talk about MET, and we'll kind of get into MESP.
Yeah, so both programs do have a lot of similarities and some differences. Like Sal said, they both have the tax advantages, so you get that tax deduction when you put money in. And also, since they are both 529 programs, the earnings are tax-free as long as they're used for education. So with MET, what it is, it's a prepaid college savings program. So you buy credit hours at today's prices, and we pay out whatever it costs when they go to school. So tuition on average doubles about every 10 to 15 years. So if you have a young child, chances are it will double again before they're ready for college. MET does allow you to go out of state or a Michigan private school. What we do is take those credit hours and convert them to a dollar value based on the average of the Michigan costs at that time, and then they have that dollar value to go out of state. With MET, we have 3 different options. Full benefits, which covers credit for credit at any Michigan public university, regardless of the cost. And that, again, can be converted out of state or Michigan private. Limited benefits, which covers most credit for credit, but does prorate on the most expensive schools. And then a community college, which is your local in-district community college. We have a new plan now, started a couple of years ago, called Pay As You Go. So before, you had to either commit to everything in a one lump sum, or you had to commit to a monthly purchase plan. So now we have Pay As You Go. With Pay As You Go, you can open up a contract by purchasing just 1 credit hour up front. And then after that, you can contribute however much you want, however often you want. Each contribution is just $25 minimum. A lot of people will contribute monthly, but you don't have to. Or if you are contributing monthly, you can also put some extra in there for birthdays or holidays or tax time, or if you get a bonus, and you just grow that credit hour balance as you go.
All right, so MESP, well, MET is prepaid tuition. You're locking in your tuition costs today. MESP, on the other hand, is more investment-based, kind of like a retirement account or a Roth IRA, if you're familiar with that. But contributions are made after tax, meaning you pay tax up front for the tax-free withdrawal in the future if it's used for higher education expenses, such as the tuition, room and board, books, supplies, things like that. The one misconception I think a lot of people don't understand is that since it's a Michigan plan, it has to be used in the state of Michigan, which is false. It can be used out of state and abroad at any accredited or qualified institution. So really that is, in the state, in the U.S., I think there's over 6,500 accredited institutions. And it doesn't have to be used at a 4-year or 2-year. It can be used at a voc school, a technical school, really any school that accepts federal financial aid. And I think also a lot of people are, since they think that it's investment-based and there's investments involved, that it's too risky for them or may not be risky enough. But there's different options. So within the investment options, you can choose a risk-based allocation, one that's conservative, moderate, or aggressive. So whether you don't like investments or you do like investments, there's something out there for you. And then low cost. It's very low cost compared to, let's say if you were working with a financial advisor. With a financial advisor, you actually pay service fees or advisory fees with them. So keeping low cost is because it's a state of Michigan run program, and simply all you do is pay for the investment. You don't pay any fees or any service fees. A lot of people also wonder how old they have to be to start an account. You do not have to be, you can be any age. You could be pregnant and beginning to have a child, and you can start an account for that unborn child. You would open the account in your name as the beneficiary and the account owner, and then once the child's born, you can actually transfer that money over to the newborn child once they have a valid Social Security number. Your child could be attending college next year, and you could start an account. Usually we say, use the money for junior, senior year when college is a little bit more expensive, and if you plan on taking student loans, to take that freshman, sophomore year. It'll save you some money that way. But you can use the funds at community colleges in another way to save for or save some costs based on college.
Yeah, a couple other similarities that both programs have are transferability. So if one child doesn't need all of their benefits or all of their money, it can be transferred to any relative. So it can be transferred down to a sibling or a cousin, niece or nephew. Even if your child has their own children, it could be transferred to their own children. So it's not like, you're going to be locked in and not have anything to use this money on. If you don't have anybody to transfer it to and they don't go to college or they get a full scholarship and don't need it, both programs are fully refundable. So you would just cash it out for not attending. And then the only thing you would pay is taxes on the earnings. So your initial investment would never be taxed. You would just pay taxes on the earnings similar to pulling money out of a 401k.
But in the event it is used for higher education, it comes out tax-free.
Yep.
So that's the whole point of the 529 plans, is to save for higher education expenses. So in the event you do that, then it comes out tax-free. So it's really the only tax-advantaged way to save for higher education costs. If you were saving with a traditional savings account, those earnings or any growth in that savings account is taxable each year. So MET and MESP both grow tax-free. So it is a nice way to kind of gift money to friends and family for birthdays, holidays, special events, things like that.
And you don't have to be a parent. A grandparent can open one too, or an aunt or uncle can open one for a child, or even a family friend.
So I actually opened up one for myself as well. In case I decide to go back and get my master's degree, I can actually use that money to pay for my master's program. So I guess we got a few minutes for questions. Yeah?
So how do you determine what the cost per credit hour is?
So our rates are on our website. We're actually closing enrollment today for our current enrollment period. We will open up again in December for the 2019 enrollment period. They're always listed on our website. We'll have the lump sum rates for full semesters, and then also that per credit hour rate. The current per credit hour rate for the least expensive is $110 for community college. Most expensive is $594 for the full benefits.
So when you buy the credits, you're buying per university?
Nope, so you're just buying general credit hours. And then you don't have to pick a university. When your child decides where they're going to go, we will pay whatever that university is charging for whatever program they're enrolled in.
So how do you determine the cost per credit hour combined?
Well, we set the prices. Our actuary determines those rates. And that's why we close for a couple of months every year, so our actuary can evaluate all the different things to set those prices.
Yeah, go ahead.
As I understand, if we buy college or credits through MET, they're not eligible for any other expenses except in course credit hours, right?
That's correct. We'll let
Yeah, yep,
her explain.
so MET covers, the credit hours cover the tuition and most of the mandatory fees associated with that tuition. So we actually do advise, if you're able, to do both. Both programs work really well together, and a lot of people will put money in MET for the credit hours, and then also put money in MESP to cover those other expenses, books, room and board.
So to answer your question, you can actually, so let's say you have a MET contract and the child receives a scholarship. MET can actually fund the college whatever tuition costs, so for the full bill, and then they end up receiving a scholarship. So there's actually an overpayment on MET end, and you can use that money towards room and board costs or other supplies, things like that. So it's not necessarily just used for tuition and mandatory fees, but in case if there was an overpayment, you can use it for room and board costs and things like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Any other questions? Got a couple more minutes, yeah.
You might have covered this and I might have missed it. Can you use this for out-of-state?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
At any
Both.
accredited institution, one that accepts federal student aid.
For both
Can be
programs.
out of state, could be a beauty school in California if they wanted to, or abroad.
So
Yeah.
that means that the actuary is not getting college tuition just for the state of Michigan, it's just a general.
So the rates are based on the Michigan public tuition rates.
So how do you?
So it's an average, correct?
Yeah.
It's an average of all the institutions in Michigan, so they pull it in for an average cost. So there's 3 high-cost schools, U of M Ann Arbor, Michigan State, and Michigan Tech. Those are the most expensive Michigan schools. So they rate those, that is considered a full benefits contract, so that'll cover credit for credit at those schools as well as every other school in the state of Michigan. The limited benefits only covers 26 out of 30 credit hours, and that covers like Central Michigan, Wayne State, Fair State, Western Michigan, some of the lower cost schools or the middle cost schools. So that would be the limited benefits contract.
Yep, limited at those lower cost schools, it actually covers it fully. It's just if they choose the more expensive, so U of M Ann Arbor, Michigan State, Michigan Tech, then you get that proration.
So how is it prorated if you go out of state?
So we convert the credit hours that the student has to a dollar value. That dollar value is based on the average of the Michigan public institutions at the year they attend, so let's say 2030, and then they'll have that dollar value available to take out of state.
So if there's an overage at the end of their 4th year or however long they graduate, you get that money back, but it's taxed. It's taxed.
The earnings portion would be taxed, yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thanks
And-
for coming. Go ahead.
And we'll be just around the corner in booths 13 and 14. If you have any questions, feel free to stop by.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to have our panel discussion.